Hey guys, RUGBY here. In today's video, I'm going to give you guys my team of the group stage for this 2023 Rugby World Cup. Again, the group stages are at a close now, and I thought what better time than now to give you guys my combined 15 following the end of the group stages for this Rugby World Cup. Before we get into this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and definitely comment below just to let me know if you guys agree or disagree with my selection, and also put your combined 15 as well of players who've kind of impressed you throughout this tournament. And just to let you guys know, the only kind of requirement I've given myself in terms of this selection is that these players have to be playing in the position they've been playing most of their minutes in throughout this Rugby World Cup. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So yes, I may have to choose when it comes to me towards the wingers. I can't choose like 2 14s. I have to choose an 11 and a 14. Same with the loose forwards, a 6, 7, and 8. So hopefully you guys understand that concept. But besides that, let's get straight into this. So as you can see right here, this is the front row that I've selected. I've gone with the likes of Thomas Gallo from Argentina. At number 2, I've gone with Muvaka at the hooker spot, who of course is playing for France. And of course, at number 3, I've been going for Ben Tamifuna from Tonga, who's had a pretty impressive tournament. So yeah, that makes up my front row right there. Again, for Thomas Gallo, he's done pretty well, I'd say, from a scrum position. And yeah, just he's been able to kind of carry out the ball pretty well, nicely. His tackle percentage is pretty high. I think it's in the in the 80s. So that's what you kind of want from your props. So overall, I just think he's probably been the best loose head prop we've seen throughout this tournament so far. From a hooker position, I just think Muvaka, he scored, 2 tries? He's had 2 try assists. So, yeah, he's been all over the place, really, for the French. And he's really stepped up, actually, because normally, it would be, Julian Machon who would be playing there, starting, really. But, of course, he's been out. So, yeah, Muvaka's been taking up that spot, and he's been doing, he's been pretty impressive. So, yeah, he's definitely the hooker, I'd say, who's done the best, I'd say, throughout this group stage. And then, yeah, Ben Tamifuna, who's just been, kind of incredible to watch, really, because he's also has 2 tries to his name, and he's also another player who's been massive from a set piece position, particularly from the scrum. So yeah, I think that front row kind of justified himself, and yeah, just overall, it's definitely a front row which I would watch for sure. But anyway, moving on then towards the lock pairing I've selected for this side. I've gone the likes of Tag Burn there at number 4, as well as Fakataba at number 5 from Japan. I think these two have been pretty good from 2 different sides of the field, just because Tag Burn really, he's just been all over the place, for the Irish. He's had 3 tries, and from the Irish position, they've been pretty good from their lineouts, and he's obviously a big part of that because they win a lot of the lineouts, but also but they're actually I think they are the highest actually when it comes to lineout steals. So he definitely has a big part in that. So yeah, it's one of those where he's had just a good tournament overall. He had 2 tries, I believe, against Romania, and he had 1, I believe, against Tonga. So yeah, he's had a pretty good tournament, I'd say, and yeah, definitely one that could maybe stand out later in the knockouts as well. But again, Fakatava, just an incredible player. I think he's probably scored the try of the tournament so far. I mean, that try to what we saw against Argentina was just unbelievable. Unbelievable. What you guys don't understand is that he's a lock. It's just so funny because even when you look at fantasy, by the way, guys, on the World Rugby website, he's actually listed as a center, but he's actually a lock, and he's been playing lock for all these games. And he actually has 3 tries to his name, and one of those tries, of course, was that kind of try where he came around the corner with one hand, kicked it high in the air. The bounce obviously came, kind of good bounce obviously towards him, snatched it. It's just then placed it down. It's a brilliant try overall, and that's kind of what you like to see. So yeah, he's had a great tournament, I'd say, for the Japanese. Obviously, a bit unfortunate for them to go out, but still a very impressive tournament from individual standpoints. But anyway, moving on towards the loose forwards for this side. I've gone with the likes of Manuel Adaro, of course, from Uruguay. I've gone with the likes of Jac Morgan there from Wales, as well as Fritz Lee from Samoa. I think these 3 alone have been very good for their teams. Probably the standout players, you could say, for all these sides. I mean, again, Manuel Adaro has been all over the place from a defensive position. He's had 7 turnovers throughout the group stage, which is remarkable because, at one point, that number, 7 turnovers, you don't see that often within Rugby World Cups, guys. I mean, like, I mean, again, you have like in the past, like the player who was normally in that position was like what? You would probably say Pocock was up there in terms of turnovers, but he normally only had like what, 5 overall in a tournament, or 4 or 5. So for Manuel Dar to have 7 just in the group stage is remarkable. So yeah, he's been a great player to watch, really, because he's kind of allowed Uruguay to kind of stay in games. Again, maybe not that blowout against the All Blacks at the end, but still, he's been very impressive throughout the group stage. So I feel like it's just right to obviously kind of show just put him in this side, because he definitely deserves it, I think. But again, going to the number 7, I'm going to the likes of Jac Morgan there. I mean, the Welsh have just been remarkable in this tournament. They've really surprised a lot of teams, I think. They've actually surprised a lot of teams just because, and even like from a fan point of view, they actually surprised me, because I actually said they're a team that could actually not make it past the knockouts. So I mean, I definitely got it wrong in that part. And hey, he's been a huge part in that. For what Wales been able to accomplish throughout the group stage. I mean, he has I think 2 tries to his name. He's been pretty impressive. Even has 1 try assist as well. So yeah, he's had a really good tournament. And again, he was massive in that game, obviously against the Wallabies as well. So yeah, just an overall good tournament from him, and obviously he'll be looking to continue that into the knockout stages against Argentina. But of course, in terms of that last loose forward, I've gone with Fritz Lee. Again, I actually wanted to put Michael Lynch here from Japan, because he's also another player I think really stood out throughout this tournament. But it's just it didn't feel right to put 2 Japanese players in this team of the group stage, because obviously they did get knocked out. So I felt it was only right to put Fritz Lee in here, because he's someone really for the Samoans who stood out throughout the whole tournament. He's another player who actually has 7 turnovers to his name as well. So he's actually tied with Manuel Dara from a turnover perspective. And yeah, he even has a try to his name as well. And he's one of the. I mean, I felt so bad for Samoa, because they almost beat England, which was actually remarkable. That would have been a remarkable achievement, really, because we don't see it often where a tier 2 nation beats a tier 1 nation. So yeah, they're really close to winning a game, but yeah, just unfortunately, obviously not able to get the job done. But no, overall, just a really impressive tournament by him, and exactly the reason why I've selected him in that number 8 spot. But yeah, moving on then towards the back line here for the 9-10 combination here, I've gone with the likes of Cam Roygaard there, number 9, as well as George Ford at number 10. Again, this is I don't think Cameron Roygaard is the controversial pick, because he's by far been the best scrum half throughout this tournament. I mean, he's had I think he's had 3 tries in 6 try assists, which is pretty incredible. Like 3 tries in 6 try assists is like, you don't that's pretty good from a group stage perspective. Like he definitely, I mean, just that alone tells you how impactful he's been, whenever he starts or even coming off the bench. So yeah, he's been really good throughout this tournament. And again, he's always been someone where because again, you guys know I cover the All Blacks a lot, and I definitely see him being the future 9 for the All Blacks, hand down. I mean, I've always said him and McKenzie are probably going to be the new 9-10 combination. So yeah, no, I've really enjoyed what Roygaard's been able to do in this tournament, because we've seen it within Super Rugby as well. He's just a direct player in terms of how many tries he likes to get. I think he got 10, at least 10, maybe 10 tries. I think I could be wrong in that sense, but he got a lot in Super Rugby. You have to remind me on that front. But I know for sure he's doing pretty well in this tournament so far. But yeah, from a 10 perspective, of course, with George Ford, I mean, again, there's a lot of 10s I could have selected here. I mean, Johnny Sexton's had an incredible tournament. I mean, you could even say the 2 All Black fly halves, really, with Mwanga and Barrett if you wanted to. But again, Barrett's really played more as a 15. You could even look at Finn Russell's been he's been good. I'm not gonna say amazing, but he's been good. You have the likes of who else? Mathieu Jalabert, of course, for the French. He's really stepped up when needed. But yeah, no, I just think George Ford, he's just been someone who I've really been impressed by, I'd say, throughout this World Cup. And not to mention, I have to mention Manilova, by the way, as well. He was probably the one I was considering in this position. It was really between him and George Ford. But I edged it towards George Ford just because, I mean, he had that 3 drop goals against Argentina, essentially won the game for England in that game, even with a red card. So that's pretty, it's pretty remarkable to see what he's able to do in that one. And, he's even had a try assist as well, I believe, against the Japanese. So, yeah, he's really been all over the place, and he's been able to kind of help England, maintain a bit of consistency. Because again, there was a whole argument even beforehand, with Owen Farrell obviously not available, and only being available back into the the third game. It was one of those where it was really tough to see who was going to start in that 10 spots, and George Ford just has literally, I believe he's actually claimed that 10 spot now. And I think that's the 10 they should go with. in the quarterfinal. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, in terms of the centers I've chosen here, I've gone with the likes of Bundyaki there. I mean, he's already been the player of the tournament so far. So it's, yeah, I mean, it was not hard to put him there at any stretch. But yeah, in terms of number 14, I've actually gone with Naif Alibu. I just think he's been pretty impressive overall for the Fijians, obviously the captain as well. And he's really stepped up at big moments, I'd say. He scored 2 tries, of course, for them, and one against the Georgians as well as the Welsh. So yeah, he's been pretty crucial for the Fijians, and I think you have to obviously you got to respect what Fiji have done throughout this tournament. I mean, beating the Wallabies has been very impressive. They've done pretty well overall in this tournament. So yeah, no, yeah, they've had a good tournament overall. So I just think they deserve at least a player in that sense. I mean, you got to add a player, and I think he's been the one to step up the most, I'd say. But yeah, again, leaving on then towards the final 3. This is probably, there's definitely one controversial pick in here, and I know everyone's gonna not like it, but I just feel he deserves a mention, and that is Nia Shavili, from Georgia. Just he's someone who I've been impressed by, I'd say, overall throughout this tournament. Again, I know he doesn't have the statistics, or you could say the stats, compared to the likes of Lester Fananku or Will Jordan, or gosh, who else? Trying to think of other players, Darcy Graham, or just James Lowe. There's a ton of players actually, or Mapimpi. But I just felt, out of all the games, he's been a player who's consistently played every one. He's not really missed a beat. He had a try. He's had a try for himself, as well as a try assist, and yeah, he's been able to kind of make an impact, I think, throughout every game. And Georgia, they've actually they played impressive rugby, I'd say, throughout this World Cup. I mean, they got that draw against Portugal. They kind of kept Wales to a close score. Was it the Welsh game? No, actually, that's the one that was a bit far away. But I mean, that Wallaby game was not any. It wasn't too far of a stretch. And yeah, I just think overall he's been a kind of impressive player that I don't get to see often, because I don't watch as much of his club rugby, but I've been really impressed by him throughout this tournament. So I just feel like he deserves a mention for his performances throughout this group stage. But yeah, in terms of that 14 spots, I've gone with Damien Bonneau. I mean, it's easy. I mean, he's had 6 tries and 4 try assists, which is just remarkable for what it is in terms of what he's been able to accomplish so far in this group stage. I mean, that alone, just he's now in the conversation where he could actually beat, or he could actually reach that try scoring record and actually beat it, which is a hard thing to do. Again, I think it's the try scoring record is it 8 or 7? I think it is. I think it's 8, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that front. Let me know in the comments below. But I know he's very close to it. I think if he gets 9, I think that's where he breaks the record, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he's just been all over the place for the French, and he just has that try scoring instinct. So you want that in a player in any team. So that's definitely the reason why I've selected him in this team of the group stage. And of course, for the final player there, I have gone the likes of Damian McKenzie. I just had to put him in. I mean, whenever he's played for the All Blacks in this group stage, he's really just taken his chance and his opportunity, really, and kind of demonstrated why he should be given more minutes. I'm not saying he'll start in the quarterfinal, because that'll be a very big call, because it's going to be really between him and, I'd say, McKenzie for that spot. But we're talking McKenzie and Bowden Barrett for that spot, I mean. And yeah, it's going to be tough, because again, McKenzie, he's had 5 tries and 1 try assist. So it's some pretty impressive stats actually throughout this group stage, and he's been all over the place, really. I mean, him and Wargod have really combined well, and that's kind of another reason why I kind of like him at 15, because it just makes the side a bit more balanced. And again, if you need another kicker, he can obviously he's very reliable in that front as well. So yeah, I think that's kind of like the team of the group stage I've come up with here, guys. Also, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Again, there may be a few that you disagree with, or a few you're kind of happy that I've obviously put in there and included. So obviously, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Definitely like the video, guys. Subscribe to our channel, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time.